So let's just preface it. So we're going to try something a little different today. We're going to talk about one of your friendly reminders that you've had up on your social media in the past and just kind of expand on that in some of the comments.
Reminder, when you choose peace, it just comes with a lot of goodbyes. Okay, so this one is actually a very active post, and this was a friendly reminder that is more about protecting your peace. You know, we talk about knowing your worth, and pushing that narrative, know your worth, because that's what grows your self esteem. That's what grows your healing and your being proactive and doing the things you need to do when you have a high self worth. And once you get to a place where that's something that you're more managing than growing, is you go into protect your peace mode. And protecting your peace is, again, you know, the friendly reminder talking about, when you are doing that, there's a lot of goodbyes involved in that, because your boundaries are going to be set higher, or more frequent. You're not going to tolerate disrespectful behavior. You're not going to be manipulated. You're not going to be left, behind, or be pushed down the line and wait for your turn in relationships and things like that. You're not going to allow to be not important. And so in doing that, it just naturally you end up the clearing the deck. Sometimes it's you doing that, you pushing people out, and because they're not doing anything to support or serve what you're trying to do and being a better person. And their impatience around that uh, is they're getting no benefit from it, because as you get better, all it does is spill over. The other piece is they're not getting better. That you're growing and you're doing things that they're going to push back on you as being selfish or self-serving, when it's just the opposite. And those are people that, again, because of that, they're going to fall off, or again, you're going to have to cut them loose in some way. But
So,
yeah.
so that brings up a couple things I just wanted to ask about real quick. So you say protect your peace. Would you say, I'm guessing what you're saying is you need to kind of learn how to set boundaries with people, right? Is that kind of what you're hinting at?
Well, no, and that's exactly what I was saying. Is you're going to be pushing a stronger boundary. I mean, you're going to be very clear that there are boundaries. There's not going to be you're not going to be allowing people to keep crossing those lines or crossing those boundaries and keep giving them these chances, or not following through with what the consequences are. And when they do that, they're being very disrespect. It's a very disrespectful move for people not to honor your boundaries. And if they can't do that and walk away themselves because they're there, and they just keep disrupting them or pushing them, or poking at you through them, or whatever, it's up to you to cut those people out. They're just not doing anything to promote or support your growth.
Would you have any advice? So I think I've dealt with, everybody has dealt with stuff like this, where you have to have an uncomfortable conversation, or, keep reinforcing boundaries or whatever. Do you have any advice? Like, one of the harder things for me when I've had to do things like this before is, if I have a family member or somebody I've been friends with for a really long time, there's those patterns that are built up, the same rhythm. This is how I interact with this person. And that's like a really hard thing to push through sometimes, just those ingrained deep patterns. I wonder if you have any advice around that. Like, you just have to build, do you have to wait until you're just fed up with it? Or do you have any tips or tricks for, being able to kind of enforce that in long-standing relationships like that?
Yeah, and because it's tough ones, especially when you're dealing with families, dealing with your kids, or your kids dealing with you know, parents, um, it's that's where it gets to where what's important for you. You know, a lot of people are saying, "Well, I can't." Does this? It's always, does this include my kids, or does this include someone who's an addict who, you know, can't control their behaviors? It's all who that person is to you and what you're willing to tolerate. And if you want that person to be part of your life, then you have to remember, you can't change anybody. You can't control anybody. You'll have to reconcile that with yourself. And what I mean by that is if you're going to a family outing and you know that Uncle Jim is, you know, this way and it's always a trigger for you, you don't like it, the interactions are poor. It's just, if you want to continue to go to those outings and you know Uncle Jim's going to be there, then what are you going to do to protect your peace when you're around Uncle Jim? Because Uncle Jim, again, is not going to change his behaviors probably. He'll say the things he says, does the things he does. So have you done the work for yourself so that you can still be part of this family gathering you like? Because you like the other interactions. You get a lot, you know, of love and feel good or whatever from being there other than these couple of people. Well, that's where it's on you. Is, again, it's a trade-off. And you have to be able to jump out of your life for a minute and insulate yourself from those people, their behaviors or whatever, so they don't affect you, or there's minimal damage that they affect you. Certainly not do anything to bring you for you to regress, but you getting yourself strong enough so that you can walk in there and it just doesn't, you can let all that go. It's not going to affect you. And you don't have to participate in the conversations or whatever. And it's up to you whether you want to go into setting boundaries with them. You know, whether you have and they don't hear them, whether whatever. Again, if you want to choose to be part of that gathering or whatever it is, then you're going to have to do what you need to do so that you protect your peace and you're able to go back and unscathed, you know, and being able to continue to move forward. Look, and also you can limit your time. Again, it's your choices. You can maybe not go to so many gatherings, or you can maybe come later or leave earlier. Again, you find these things that work for you and to keep you in the place that's best for you and still get and give to this event, gathering, or whatever it is you want to participate in. So, I mean, again, it is hard, and this is not an all or nothing. And I think a lot of times the friendly reminders give that. It's meant for you to think. It's meant for you to understand that you, again, can be your own protector through this. And it just depends on what you can tolerate or not. It's okay to love people from a distance. It's okay to not participate if it's not something that you can get through, or if it's just something that's completely inappropriate against anything you believe in, what this person says, does, or how they interact. Well, you don't have to, just because everybody else in the family has decided to let this person be that way, doesn't mean you have to. So again, you find what works for you. Hopefully that answered the question.
Yeah, it's great advice. I'm sure that's a popular one because everybody has somebody in their life. And why is it always an uncle? I feel like it's always an uncle. Even the example you used.
Uncles.
Not that I'm thinking of one of my uncles. Not at all. Of course not. But I can relate.
Yeah, I think it's just a way to talk about it.
So I mean, since this one did get a lot of traction, do you want to maybe look at some of the comments, what people had to say about it? Dive into some of those.
Yeah. So let's just kind of flow through these, and we'll stop at anything that
jumps out.
Good, but just so you get a sense of the flow of the comments. So Lenny, so perfect for today. Cleaning house on it. taking my life back. Um, Java Jojo, it's in the letting go. First it hurts, then it changes you. It's exactly what I started to do. This video encouraged me to stick to it. Thanks a lot. Um, and that's what friendly reminders are there to do too. They're there for you to understand that other people are in these same situations you're in. Other people, there's you're not alone. You're not. There's nothing wrong with you. There's not anything wrong with your situation. It's just you doing what is best for you, and that's going to be different most of the time for everybody. This can be very difficult until you realize by choosing peace, you're choosing the ultimate gift, you. Nobody gets to take that away. Choose peace first, choose you. So again, these are why I love going through and reading these comments, because there
I
are
mark that, so I take that one out.
just recently did, chose peace, and the goodbye left instantly. And that last little bit of weight on my shoulders is gone. Exactly. It's not easy and it hurts like hell, but I'm starting to feel better about myself and removing myself from a relationship that will never be what I want or what I'm worth. So I think that if y'all listen to what's being said, there's a very common theme here. It supports the friendly reminder, and it supports protecting your peace, and always trails back to knowing your worth. And you really can't do one without the other. Knowing your worth and then protecting that, and you've got to protect your peace because you have your worth. But everybody talks about, yes, there's a little punch. There's a it hurts at the beginning. It's not fun. It's hard. But as you see, everybody continues to say that they feel better and they feel more relaxed, which is, feeling relaxed is feeling peace. Their weight's been lifted off their shoulder. These are, if you don't take care of yourself, all these things build up. And this is part of having high self-worth. So you have the strength and ability and the confidence to, again, set a boundary or to make a choice that's for you and not worry about what everybody else thinks. Because really the only people that push back on a choice that you make are people that it affects negatively. In other words, people get upset because you're taking something away from them. They were getting something from your own dysfunction, something from you not taking care of yourself. It was a payoff somehow for them. They were able to manipulate you, do something. They were getting things from you, or they were able to control you more, or whatever was happening. And so these are all these things. So very true. In the last year, there have been a lot of goodbyes, but I have such peace and a strong new family. It's good stuff. It's not going to be the same thing. It's not going to be easy. Thanks.
So the theme.
What?
I was just going to say the theme here is, you've already hit on it several times, is that it is not easy, but it is worthwhile kind of, following that advice. That's what I'm getting out of a lot of these comments.
Absolutely. And I think that's, again, part of, that's all part of the self-care savage type mentality, because it's never promoted that this is easy. It's just not that you listen to friendly reminders or you put a couple of things into action and everything is all good. These are these things that we deal with, we put up with, we allow to happen because we have no self-worth, or we're not willing to stand up for ourselves because we're worried about what maybe other family members would think, or friends, or whoever. If you do things, again, that is a positive to protect your own peace, your own happiness, and and doing the things that are best for you and your family. Um, and again, with the payoff overall being that you're better for all those that are in your life. Now, they may not fit that equation because again, it takes away from whatever the negative payoff was